Kia ora, welcome. This is your reading. This is actually a reading for the collective. On this new moon in Gemini, which is literally, it's the 29th here today. So we're doing these readings today, starting off with this collective reading. Now, these are really general readings. Especially this collective, because we're just kind of getting impressions, aren't we, from the general energies that are flying around at this time. It has felt that there's been a quickening of sorts, even though Mercury is in retrograde, which apart from the predictable things that are related to that, it does sometimes give us a chance to go over something again, review or change our course direction, so I see that as quite a good positive thing, quite frankly. Anyway, let's see what the cards have today. I'm in a slightly different spot in the house, just getting used to it. Let's see what the cards have telling us. What's the story today for collective? All right, so we come out with the glorious Prince of Discs, very Taurian card, slow moving, but yeah, slow moving, almost slowing right down. But at the same time, there's a sort of slow release. Speaking of a quickening, we've got a slow release coming through here today. 9 of Cups. Quite a glorious, independent, emotionally independent card, because we know we've got them. We've got them traditionally represented, often as these 9 cups. We know where they are, where they sit. We know they're there. Yeah, interesting. And then we have the Knight of Cups, the lovely Knight of Cups. A sort of offering. I'll get one more card and clarify. Some sort of offering here. Oh, and then we get the 10 of Discs. So we start with the disc and we end with the disc, and we have 2 cups. 2 cup cards in the middle. The Prince of Discs is in those decks where we see the Prince as a sage, as a page. It can be sort of some sort of message, some new information coming through. But with this Prince, it's more about it's like the anaerobic process, the slow release of nutrients in the soil, as it were, because by the time the night comes along, faster, like the momentum builds, that Knight presents himself or herself to manage what grows from this. So you speak of a new moon, and we say, well, we've probably been planting seeds at this time, but also if we go back month after month, possibly we've been planting the same seeds, maybe. And we're seeing some sort of follow-on effect from that shortly. But actually, I think collectively, what seems to have been occurring is that You know, the 10 of discs represents, you know, to see it around you, wealth, whether that's in people or resources. But to me, just looking at these cards, there's there has been a theme going on for quite a while, generally about going right back down to base. So that 10 of discs really represents that base chakra. So you're looking at lineage, you're looking at where you are within a family unit, or where you are in terms of a generational group, which is kind of interesting. Your loyalties, your connections, values that you choose to either uphold, keep, or alter. Interesting. And then, of course, the night is an offering. But within that night, we see emotion overriding the intellect. Sometimes not a bad thing. But anyway, let's look. I'm just rambling on. Let's get some clarification. And this is for the collective. Actually, I might just get one more card that we'll just put face down, if we can have one as a yes, as a just a something at the end here. Pull that one up, but let's at the end, let's just go through and clarify. So we've got the Prince of Discs, please. We're really kind of trying to instigate something. Look, I'm speaking metaphorically, generally here. We're instigating something that's considers the whole, considers others as much as our own needs. There's a generosity in this. This prince is not toiling along a very slow kind of path, sowing seeds purely for themselves. We get the Six of Discs to clarify that prince, generosity, and a kind of inherent understanding that this is flow. This is sort of walking that you know, it's like a line. Sorry, we've got a bit of smoke happening here. We're walking a very fluid line, understanding the nature of flow, what we express and give out there. Something that we see in returning to us. In some ways, there is a level of perspective, like an understanding that perspective, in fact, is everything here. And to me, I get a thing of time in that, like the slowness of that prince, and yet there's something coming from that. There's something quite majorly wonderful from that slowness. I don't know whether this makes any sense. Let's go through. Nine of Cups is the next card. We don't want to be complacent with our cups. And the Six of Discs is certainly not complacent with the coin. We understand where we're offering it out there. But there's a sort of just a natural lovely flow in that card. So we have the Nine of Cups. We just want to be, as I said, we don't want to be complacent with that. And there is something, I can't quite get my finger on it, right? But there's something about time here and that time is a commodity just as much as coin that is precious, in fact. I mean, depending on what timelines you're walking on all at once, you can't get time back, can you? And that doesn't rely on you or the thought of time being linear. It is one expression of generosity, giving someone your time, because time is a precious commodity. Anywho, 9 of Cups, beautiful, expressive. We know where they are. We know what gives us our 9 of Cups. We know what that is for us, right? To clarify that, we get the Magician and we get the 7 of Swords. Transparency, clarity. It's a choice for the good. You know, the Magician's got all the tools there, and with that big major one, the Wand. The 7 of Swords can often be about how we let ourselves down, or that there is an assessment of how we go about getting what we want, or, you know, doing what we do. Do we go around the front door? Are we transparent? Or do we use manipulation? Do we lie to ourselves, actually? There's a choice with this 9 of Cups, and we can use it in 2 different ways. And I think you understand what those 2 different ways are. Yeah, anyhow. I don't know if this makes any sense. Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups. An offering, yes. Quite mature. There could be a choice. I mean, there is a choice being made here. There's a choice. I think that, you know, it's kind of strange doing these sort of collective energies, because what would I know about collective energies? But we go into this, you know, because one would make the assumption that you just go on what's going on in your own world. Of course, we try and broaden our, you know, viewpoint, and tune into the general zeitgeist, you could say. So anyway, for this night, this lovely Knight of Cups can get a bit lost in the cup, in the emotion, in the reflection. Actually, there's a lot of backwards and forwards going on through here. Illusion, complacency, but at the same time, the ability for great generosity. And the strength to kind of look at where you've come from this up until this point. Interestingly, so to clarify that, we have the Knight of Rods or Wands, impulsive, you know, reactionary, but with that, there's a fire, there's a passion, there's a passion here. We also have the King of Swords sweeping through in leather garb, clearing, cleaning, with one great big rush of wind, is what I always get from that king. Maybe we're clearing the oats from the chaff. Maybe we're or separating the oats from the chaff. clearing, just having a really good clean slate here about behaviours, about what's valuable. You don't have to look too far at the moment to see that a lot of things are, well, a lot of things, you know, governments or laws and rules, the way that we took for granted, I suppose, how you go about doing what you do, what's valid and what's not, all of that's sort of been cracking open. And with it, that cracking open, as I said to begin with, perspectives change. Perspectives change. Ten of Discs. Yeah, and beyond all of it, the importance of perspectives, yes, we get the Queen of Cups with that 10. And overcoming's not the right word, and understanding this 10 of Discs in our own sphere is a key function of that understanding. A key function is an opening of the heart. And, you know, all roads lead to Rome. It all comes from the heart, it all comes back to the heart. The power of, I mean, on a fundamental level, the power of that frequency, I suppose, or that transmission, focusing on not only peering and pulling apart and looking in here, but also, you know, it's like seeing a sort of pulling open of our own heart sphere, you know, and just looking at it, knowing it, feeling it. I don't know quite what I'm trying to say here, but it is almost like putting this salve into that for yourself. You could look at a salve, you know, this healing balm, as having a practice of self-forgiveness. Isn't in effect a healing balm, which allows things to soften and open again, is what I get. Anyway, this is all a bit higgledy-piggledy, but let's just see what this other card was. I think we'll get, the Emperor, because the Emperor, the rule maker, the rule breaker, maybe. The Emperor can be very rigid, can be very benevolent. We're all coming up against our own Emperor over the last period of time. We need we need to we need to abide by, do the work, abide by certain rules that we have for ourselves and for our community or our, sphere. I don't know what I'm talking about here, but anyway, we've just got a whole bunch of Brian Froud's Pixie and Fairies. Speaking of heart, we've got honesty, which is about the generation of that frequency from the heart. We're expressing quite honestly from that place in this card. It's very delicate. It's very very high frequency fellow that we see here. in some ways, this needs to be protected. It needs to be respected and protected when it is in full expression. So again, we balance that, don't we? Expression and protection. Understanding what that is for ourselves as individuals. Oh God, we've got quite a few here. Okay, then we get, so we have the honesty card. We've got a little brownie coming up. As I say, protection, you know, boundaries without losing the ability to express. We'll always have these little dark shadows, whether they're in ourselves or whether they're attracted by this honesty, by this light, by this high kind of frequency generator. And that is why protection is very important. But not in the sense that you shut that off. So this is a balancing act here. We get the Singer of Healing as well. As it says, this is a healing card. We get Tao Om the Poet. This is focused. This is fast. And I think, you know, we're being sort of propelled up quite a few new levels here. And there's some scarring along the way, let's face it. We're talking about healing balms and salve, filling up the heart with a healing balm. We've got the Singer of the Chalice, which is sort of similar to, really, an Ace of Cups. Bathing in this cradle of healing water. Tao Om, this quite a romantic figure, gets to bathe those wounds in that fountain of what is literally mother love, I suppose. Universal love. Okay, and then one of my favourites, the Fairy Who Was Kissed by the Pixies. Love this card. So we're fully charged. We're in full capacity here to be, for want of a better word, channels for life force, of which we are anyway. Everyone is. But it just depends how you choose to use it, doesn't it? It just depends how you choose to use it. And for a bit of light relief, we've got the Art Oracle. Where are we? Oh, have I got... Oh! The Art Oracle. I love this. Let's see. Can we have one card? The Art Oracle, please. Just one would be good, just to sum it all up. Oh, we get to... I'm going to read them both out. We get Albrecht Dürer, who was an amazing artist. One man's outbreak is another man's breakthrough. Know your perspective. Apocalypse then. Know your perspective. So that's pretty neat. And then we get the beautiful Vincent van Gogh, or Van Gogh, however you choose to say it. If committed, stay committed. Posthumous recognition requires a paper trail. Use the daylight to face the night. Thank you, Vincent. Beautiful. So on that note, I hope you got something out of this. Remember, they're really general. I'm like this collective reading, incredibly general reading. And yeah, I don't think on that eclipse, Scorpio, full moon, I didn't bother doing a collective reading. But all the other astro signs will be up over the next 24 hours. And I do thank you for tuning in to this channel. It helps to keep me going. And yeah, so thank you, and we shall see you next time. Ka kite. Bye.